Welcome back, everybody. Unfortunately, we're here doing another video out on the dock about politicians trying to take away our right to keep and bear arms and defend ourselves as we see fit. So the latest is that they're basically trying to reclassify bump stocks as machine guns. So you guys can see here on the bottom of your screen what the current definition, legally speaking, of a machine gun is. And what I'm going to actually do is read to you the proposed change, which, as you will see, will include what folks call bump fire stocks. So the new change basically pertains to certain similar characteristics of bump stock devices and claims that they are machine guns as defined under the National Firearms Act of 1934 and the Gun Control Act of 1968, because such devices allow a shooter of a semi-automatic firearm to initiate a continuous firing cycle. I guess the geese don't like this ruling either. But to initiate a continuous firing cycle with a single pull of the trigger. Specifically, these devices convert an otherwise semi-automatic firearm into a machine gun by functioning as a self-acting or self-regulating mechanism that harnesses the recoil energy of the semi-automatic firearm in a manner that allows the trigger to reset and continue firing without an additional manipulation of the trigger by the shooter. So essentially what they're trying to do, again, is make bump stocks de facto machine guns. So this rule, I believe, is going to be ruled on, I think, on June 27th, if I remember correctly, and you guys can submit your comments before then. So we're going to kind of get into that a little bit later on in the review, but the big, huge thing here is that the state is trying to reclassify millions and millions of devices that are out there in circulation and being owned by law-abiding gun owners in America into machine guns, which will also turn their owners, if they don't submit them to the ATF or destroy them, into felons overnight. They've done nothing wrong. They've not changed their behavior in any way. They've not harmed anybody, but now they're illegally in possession of a machine gun. That's what the outcome would be if this ruling is allowed to go through. So let's dig into it a little bit more. For those of you that haven't watched my earlier videos on this, I've gone over in extensive detail as to why the ATF can't classify bump stocks as machine guns in previous videos, and basically it has to do with the single function versus the single pull of the trigger. That was a big differentiating factor in those definitions that I read in the intro. So right now, there has been a FOIA request put in for all of the ATF's documents where they've reviewed bump fire stocks in the past and given their rulings as to exactly why they are not machine guns. So it will be the ATF themselves saying that these are not machine guns. Those documents aren't out yet, but the FOIA request has been put in. Now, what can you guys do to stop this in the interim? Well, number one, you can go over to the ATF's website where they're actually taking comments on this and put your comment in as to why this is wrong, not legal, and not correct in terms of the function of a normal firearm. So you can put all those in there. Again, I believe they're taking comments up until June 27th. If you guys follow me on Facebook, I will be updating this process as it goes along. When all those documents come out in terms of FOIA requests, I will put those up over on my Facebook page. If I get links to them, I will put them down in this video description wherever you're watching it as well. So it's very important that we stand up and defend this, because it is not about bump stocks, right? I don't own a bump stock, not a single one. I don't own one. I think they're silly. But as this young lady here says, this is what it's really about.
Like right now, sign our petition. It takes 2 seconds, and it matters. We will take the big, and we will take the small, but we will keep fighting. When they give us that inch, that bump stock ban, we will take a mile. We are not here for breadcrumbs, we are here for real change. We are here to lead.
She's not politically experienced enough to realize that you're not supposed to actually come out and say that as a gun banner, but as you heard from the crowd reaction, that's what they want. They want the incremental erosion of your right to defend yourself and your family as you see fit as a law-abiding American citizen, and they want to do so by confiscating or making illegal things that we already have the liberty to enjoy and own as Americans. So again, this is going to make the law-abiding citizens into felons. The penalty for this, should you not comply, and should this actually go into law, is up to 5 years in prison for your first sentence, for your first violation, I should say. It's also the exact same sentence that you would get if you were committing your first act of production of child porn. So they're putting the same level of penalty for owning a piece of plastic that was legally purchased as someone who produces child porn in their first offense. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Let that sink in. So what can we do? we can write the ATF, like I said, follow along on social media pages for the updates that are coming, for the FOIA requests that have been submitted as to the ATF and why they've said that you cannot classify these as machine guns, and write them, be polite, use your real name, use your real address, and point out why this is wrong. Not only is it, of course, morally wrong, constitutionally wrong, it is also not functionally correct. Bump stocks are not machine guns, and to try to change the definition to fit some sort of political narrative is simply absurd, and it's a very, very slippery slope that we're going down there. The head of the secret police under Stalin said, "Show me the man and I'll show you the crime." That's essentially what's happening here to law-abiding American citizens if this is allowed to go into effect. So rate your politicians. No one's safe. Democrats, Republicans, the president, all of them are, not all of them rather, but many of them are behind this. So we need to speak up and let our voices be heard so that way they know that we will not take it anymore. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video.